here is my profile, where I have a 12.9 years of a corporate experience in the areas of business intelligence, which includes all the data warehousing practices, okay, of a different technologies of the data reporting tools as well as the data visualizations tool, okay. And I have a thorough experience in the areas of data visualization, that is nothing but a Tableau. From past 4 years, I am working with the Tableau of all the basic versions, okay. And in the reporting area, I have a familiar knowledge as well. And the domain expertise, what I have is, I have the domain expertise in terms of banking and financial services, e-commerce services, and retail sectors. These are all the predominantly I have a domain knowledge. And apart from this, I used to give a freelancing training across the globe. Okay, so this is about my quick introduction. Now, coming to the webinar discussion, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to give details about the Tableau. Basically, what is this Tableau, what is the purpose, and how it is going to be value added to your careers, and what kind of a job opportunities you will be having. So let's discuss from that point of view. Okay, now here we go. So Tableau. So what is first question is, what is this Tableau, right? Yes, Tableau is a data visualization tool. I don't call it as a Tableau is a reporting tool. No, it is a data visualization and data discovery tool. So let me start with this quotation, right? A good sketch is better than a long speech. Yes, I believe in this. This is what even Tableau is also saying, because as I mentioned, Tableau is a data visualization tool and data discovery tool, and it is a self-reporting application, and it is also a strong analytical tool, which means why I'm calling it as a self-reporting application in the sense, end user, being as a business user, they can able to generate the data visualizations as per their requirement instantaneously without having a technical knowledge. That is the beauty behind the Tableau. Okay, so look at this. By looking at this graph, by looking at this image, right, can we able to identify the number 9 very easily? See, it is very hard to identify. See, you can identify, I'm not denying that, but it is very hard to identify the number, specific number, that is 9, right? But with the introduction of this kind of a Tableau visualization tools, we can easily identify. Here we go. Now what we did, we have highlighted the number 9 in this color so that we can easily identify. So our focus, I mean to say, it is attracting the customer views. See, look at this. So like this we can easily identify. So what is the case here, which means end user can analyze their organizational data very easily. Okay, so what is the advantages with this Tableau? So basically the Tableau is the having a capability to control a real-time data irrespective of the nature of a data. It could be banking and financials, or it could be retail, or it could be insurance. Irrespective of the nature of a data, you are having the capability to control it. Okay, and it limits the amount of data to be visualized, and it is useful for the analysis as well as the exploration. And with this analysis as well as the exploration, end users, the business users, is having a right information to the right person, so that they can take right decisions at the right time to sustain their business activities. And distributed decision making. In traditional practices, they are having centralized decision making, but the introduction of the advanced visualization and advanced discovery tools, they are distributing the decision makings. Okay, and even the domain expertise can build the analytics. Domain expertise in the sense they are lack of technical knowledge, like business analysts, so they can develop kind of analytics for effective visuals and easy to understand, where they can easily interact with this. And the maintenance of this Tableau is low implementation and cost efficiency. You have it. Okay. Now this is just a heads up on Tableau. Okay, what Tableau can perform. Here we go. So Tableau can perform this kind of a sophisticated reporting flavors can be done. Okay, so here we go. If you look at this, right, see this kind of a category related and this kind of month related, trend related, severity related, this kind of reports can be generated via, this kind of visuals can be generated via Tableau. This is just an example. We have one more example related to Tableau, where we can have monthly sales dashboard respective to the each and every sales representative. This is just an example. Okay, let me show you one more example. Look at this. In the areas of real estate, okay, where we can identify the monthly supplies of the customers and the respective to the zonal wise, as far as the country wise, you can identify the fluctuations of the trend of this. Okay, similarly, even in the healthcare sectors also, we can use this kind of, where we can identify the number of sugar patients, the inflow of sugar patients, weekly wise as well as the monthly wise, and what is the trends we can analyze in this way with the help of Tableau. And in the areas of, I can say, beverages and cool drinks, we can have an analytics with the competitors. What is the trends is going against your competitors? Such kind of analytics can be done. And even we can identify easily the crime ratio, especially in the government sectors, right? What is the crime ratio respective to the zones? Okay, if you look at this this dashboard, I can say that this red color is indicating high risk, high crime in the respective areas. The green is indicating zero risk. So such kind of government sectors also, the Tableau is being well used in a well advanced way. And this Tableau is being used across the sectors, different sectors of organizations, like banking and analytics, education reporting, game development, government analytics, healthcare analytics, investing and wealth management, manufacturing and analytics, oil and gas analytics, real estate analytics, retail domain, science analytics, sports management, supply chain management, nothing but SCM, transportations, nothing but your logistics. Even in telecommunication sectors also, it is being widely used. Okay. Now, you can ask me a question over here. Does only a Tableau is a data visualization tool, or do we have anything else available in IT sector? Yes. But you can ask me a question again, one more question here. Why should I choose a Tableau? Why can't we go ahead with the traditional reporting flavors? Why should I go ahead with the advanced reporting? Yes. See, in the IT sector, we have the traditional reporting flavors like Cognos, MicroStrategy, SSRS, OBI, WebFocus, SAP BO. These are all the traditional reportings. Okay, where it will hit the respective data warehouses, and where we used to have some kind of a maintenance of a metadata layer or middle layers, and then by dependent on that we will be generating a report. But in the area of Tableau, it is not like that. You no need to dependent on the metadata layers. Okay, we can directly interact with the respective sources, and we can retrieve the data, and we can generate a kind of sophisticated visualizations. Okay, and basically the Tableau is having a concept of in-memory. Okay, in-memory, where it is having a capability to store organizational data in that. Okay, where the performance would be in a better way when I compare with the traditional reporting flavors, traditional reporting applications, for the faster performance, and it is purely with the user driven. A technical person involvement okay, would be very less, because the most of the activities will be driven by the end users and cost effective. When I compared with the other reporting tools, the implementation cost is very less. So with a less implementation cost, you are creating wonders. So that is again another advantage with the Tableau. Okay. And compared with all of these reporting applications, Tableau is having more number of customers throughout the globe. Okay. So this is also one of the reasons to choose with the Tableau. And technically also, when we compared with the other reporting tools, it is having their own advantages in terms of like a data blending concepts. Data blending in the sense where we can merge data from different data sources, and we can generate a single and consolidated dashboard. That is a sort of an example. And for the better performances wise, we have a concept called referential integrity, where whenever you are fetching a data from various sources, performance can be improvised while fetching a data from the source itself. So those kind of and in-memory concepts. So these are all the sophisticated technology that has been implemented in a Tableau. Okay, and this is the basic layout that by interacting with the respective sources. Look at this. We no need to maintain a metadata layers. For example, if you take few of the reporting tools like business objects, right? In business objects level, we used to maintain a concept like universe called metadata layer. But in the concept of a Tableau, we no need to maintain any sort of a metadata layers, so that we can avoid most of the reporting complications with the help of this in-memory data, so that we can generate the reports and we can distribute to the end users mobiles onto their respective email IDs, etc., with the help of live connection. Live connection in the sense, instead of having this metadata layer, we have a live connection where we can fetch always the periodical data from the respective sources. Okay, and this is the Tableau product lines, because Tableau is having a mixture of different layers like Tableau desktop, and this is the core of the business of Tableau. Tableau desktop and Tableau server, Tableau public, Tableau premiums, where I can call it as Tableau online, as well as Tableau reader, because this Tableau desktop extract the source data from the respective sources, because Tableau supports more than 50 different data sources. Okay, I'll show you that practically as well. And once you develop a dashboard via this Tableau desktop, we will be distributing to the respective online users, okay, where we have maintenance of the Tableau servers, Tableau public, Tableau online, as well as the Tableau readers. Okay, anyhow, let's dig into that one by one practically. Let me show you that. So Tableau desktop. So this Tableau desktop is exclusively for modeling and reporting, which is helpful to develop the dashboard. Okay, Tableau related dashboard. Okay, where, as I mentioned here, it is purely for the development purpose. While in order to create the reports or charts and formatting them and to meet the customer requirement, we will be placing all these elements in a Tableau desktop, where it is having a certain areas like data connections and extracts, filters, parameters, and the dynamic data visualizations, all those things. So let me show you practically right away how does this Tableau desktop looks like. Okay, here we go. The current version we have that in the Tableau is 9.1 version, and previously it is having 9.0, 8.1, 8.0, something like that. But the latest version is Tableau 9.1 is the latest version. And what I'm going to show is, I'm going to show you this Tableau desktop, how it is helpful for the development perspectives in order to develop like the dashboards from the Tableau point of view. Here we go. So as I mentioned, we are talking about Tableau 9.1. Okay. This is the desktop. Okay. At this moment, we are focusing on the file version, but we can have evaluation version also, where it is where we don't need to dependent on this. Okay. Give me a second. Okay, so this is the welcome screen that you will be getting whenever you open with the Tableau. Okay. Now look at this. As I mentioned, it supports different data sources. Okay. Different data sources in the sense, it supports more than 50 data sources. Like it can interact with it is having a capability to interact with the ERP packages and RDBMS databases and flat files and even other respective data sources. Okay, so it supports in this way. So this is the stuff that it supports the respective sources. Okay, now let me show you. Okay, let me put in this way. It is trying to interact with the data source where we can fetch respective data. Generally, it won't take this much of time. It will be done in fraction of seconds, but let me tell you in this way. Okay, see, this is what Tableau desktop, where you have the respective source details. All what you need to do is simply just drag and drop. Just we need to drag and drop those reporting elements. That's it. Okay. See what is happening. See how simple it is to generate a dashboard. Okay. See where we can have the country wise as well as state wise details. See, and again we can apply drill down very easily. See, respective to this. Okay. And if you want to apply any sort of a filters, we can apply. It can be applicable very easily. Go to show me. See, and you can easily swap these elements. See how easily I'm swapping these elements. So all these things can be possible at a desktop level. Okay, and where we can develop a worksheet. Worksheet in the sense, whatever the way that you are developing here, you can develop the sheets, and we can convert into dashboard, because dashboard is a mixture of different worksheets. So we can, as a developer or as an end user, yes, whoever it is, we can develop this and we can apply sort of colors, sizing, parameters, everything can be done very easily. So, and once you're done with this, we can go ahead with this visualizations. I mean, we can distribute this report to the online server, where this report can be distributed to, okay, to your mobile, nothing but your smartphones. All those activities can be done via this Tableau desktop. And later on, this Tableau desktop, right, is having two types, basically personal desktop as well as the professional desktop. Okay, so personal desktop is having certain limitations. Okay, and it is a cost of $999. Okay, but it is having a limitation that it cannot interact with the majority of the data sources. Only it can interact with 6 to 10 data sources. Okay, and the another desktop is professional desktop. It is $1,999 cost, and most of the cases, every organization, from the organizational point of view, we will be using professional desktops, where it is having a capability to interact with the more than 40 data connections, and where, as I mentioned over here, okay, where it is having a capability to interact with the so many data sources. Okay, that is the advantage with the Tableau professional desktops. Okay, and the another biggest advantage what we have with this Tableau desktop is basically the maintenance wise, I mean to say hardware configuration or RAM configuration, it doesn't require any high end of configurations. Okay, it requires a basic configurations like 2 GB memory and 750 megabytes of free disk space. And at this moment, Tableau is having only the window, I mean, it supports the environments like Windows as well as the Mac operating systems. Okay, and it is purely window based tool. I mean, nothing but graphical user interface. Okay, right, and let me show you. Similarly, as I mentioned, we have one more component called Tableau server. So this Tableau server is, see, Tableau desktop is helpful to develop your worksheets and your dashboards, but Tableau server is exclusively maintained in order to distribute and collaborating the content what you have developed in a Tableau, where we can share your content to the web portals, or we can distribute into websites, all those things. And secure and mobility wise, you have the respective content where we can distribute the dashboards which is generated by the Tableau desktop, we can distribute into your mobiles also. That is the another advantage with the Tableau server. And this Tableau server is basically an administrative application where we'll be performing all sort of administrative activities of Tableau at a server level. And it is also a web-based application. Okay, we no need to perform any sort of coding in order to perform admin activities. Okay, and even it also connects all the respective data sources what Tableau desktop is connecting. Okay, and it also supports like 32-bit and 64-bit versions of the Windows platform. It never, I mean, Tableau is not having a Linux-based OS operating systems. Okay, it is purely with the Windows. And if in case if you are using 64-bit operating system, so 4 cores of CPU and 8 GB system memory and 15 GB, okay, disk space, minimum 15 GB, minimum free disk space you should have. Okay, in case if you are using 32-bit computers, we will be having 2 cores of CPU and 4 GB system memory and 15 GB minimum free disk space. Let me show you how this Tableau desktop, Tableau server looks like. Here we go. So Tableau server. So let me show you in terms of where we'll be having within the Tableau server, we are having different components in order to start and stop the services of the Tableau server activities. And Tableau server monitor, I mean to say health checkups. Health checkups can be done. Okay, health checkups can be done related to Tableau server. I mean to say how the frequency of the Tableau server is having all such kind of activities. Okay, and this is the layer that we can configure with the Tableau servers. Okay, where we used to define the respective users with the Windows AD authentication, Windows Active Directory, and you have sort of data connections, respective servers. If you want, you can clone the respective servers also with the concept of WizQL. Okay, and alerts, subscriptions in the sense, and alerts in the sense in case any failure notification mechanism, so that can be done, and SSL configurations can be done, Kerberos authentications, and it is having a flexibility even to interact with the SAP HANA. SAP HANA is a kind of a database, where it is also having in-memory concept, which is a platform of SAP HANA. In case if your Tableau wants to interact with the HANA platform in a server level, you have to do some sort of configurations in terms of SAML certifications. All such kind of activities needs to be performed. Okay, that is related to Tableau server. And the another component we have is Tableau Reader. Okay, and again it is Tableau Reader, right, is a free desktop application. Even you can also install it on your desktops, and you can interact with the data visualizations built in Tableau desktop. With Tableau Reader, right, it's only a read writes you have. You cannot modify any sort of reports which is generated by the Tableau desktop. You cannot modify with the help of Tableau Reader. So with the Tableau Reader, we can apply filter, drilling functionalities like drill down, drill up, and we can view the data details designed by the author. Who is the author? The author, authoritative person, will be developing this dashboard through Tableau desktop, but which is distributed to Tableau Reader. So that can also be done. But this Tableau Reader is having certain limitations when you compare with the Tableau server as well as the when you compare with the Tableau server. Okay, and to deal with this Tableau Reader, we have again a minimum hardware configuration is required, like 2 GB memory of CPU and 750 megabytes of minimum free disk space is required. Okay. Similarly, we have another Tableau component is Tableau Public. Okay, this Tableau Public is for anyone who wants to interact to the data stories on the web, which means, let's say I'm a Tableau, would like to use a Tableau report. So with the help of this component, you can distribute a Tableau dashboard to the n number of users, where they can pass on their comments, they can view, they can post their views of the particular report. So all those activities can be done with the help of Tableau Public. And again, it is also having certain limitations when you compare with the server as well as the desktop, Tableau server as well as the desktop. For example, like we can, with the help of this Tableau Public, right, we can use some limited data, which means, I mean to say, very limited number of rows that we can fetch, and can interact. And this Tableau Public, right, can interact with only limited data sources like Excel and text file, but we cannot interact with the various data sources. So in this way, we have certain disadvantages. And most of the case, this Tableau server Tableau Public, right, is not having much confidentiality respective to your data, because it is distributing to the public, where they can visualize your report and they can pass on the comments on top of it. So that is the reason it is having certain disadvantages. And we have another component, that is Tableau Online. So this Tableau Online is exclusively to deal with the on the cloud, okay, where we can distribute the Tableau dashboards. Can be distributed in the cloud level, but it needs subscription fee. It is not a freeware. We need to subscribe it with some paying additional amount. Okay, and all these maintenance of your Tableau dashboards and Tableau worksheets will be done at a server level. Okay, yeah, this is about Tableau. The various components of the Tableau, like what we have seen is like Tableau desktop, Tableau server, Tableau Reader, Tableau Public, Tableau Online. So these are all. And whatever the report that you are generating, whatever the visuals that you are generating via Tableau, right, it is treated as a file. Okay, it is treated as a file. So what kind of extensions that Tableau is having with respect to sources? The extensions like, okay, let me show you. It is having extensions like TDS, Tableau with the data source connection. Okay, And Tableau workbook, as I mentioned, right? Workbook or worksheet, you can call it as .twb. And packaged workbook with data source, again, the twbx. And bookmarks, tbm. And Tableau data extracts, that is TDE. Anyhow, these are because Tableau consider everything, whatever you have, a report or worksheet or dashboard or whatever it is, everything it consider as a file. Tableau never ever consider the naming convention whatever you are giving. It considers based upon the extension. Look at this, TWB, Tableau workbook. Okay. So based upon the file extension, it identifies at a backend level. Okay. That is the reason each and every layer at a server level or at a desktop level, you will have these extensions. Okay. And this is the architecture with the Tableau. As I mentioned, we have the Tableau desktops, and we can distribute this Tableau mobiles, all these things. Where we have a gateway like load balancing. All this will be done at a backend level, and this will be maintained as a Tableau admin. You can maintain all these activities. Look at this. So with the help of these components like data servers, connectivities, it can interact with the warehouse practices, data marts, flat files, cubes, SATBW cubes or SSIS cubes. All these respective sources can be interactive, and this is the layout. It's a 5-tier layer you have, okay, and which is highly scalable. Okay, and here we go. Again, if you look at here, the Tableau desktop is interacting with the respective sources. Okay, and I am distributing into Tableau server, and from there Tableau readers, and by using their web as well as the mobiles can be done, and even Tableau server also can interact with the respective sources. But the Tableau is having the biggest advantage is you can generate a Tableau report, Tableau dashboard even at offline. That is the biggest success factor with the Tableau, I can say, because you can extract the data and keep it in a vSQL, nothing but in memory, and apparently you can develop a report. So which means at this moment, let's say your Tableau is offline with your server, with your data sources. Yes, but still you can extract the data and you can place it in an in-memory layer, and you can generate a dashboard out of that. That is the beauty behind Tableau. Okay. Now, let me show you some sample dashboards what kind of a miracles can happen via this Tableau. Let me show you right away. Okay. So that you will have a better idea. For example, this is just an example for your understanding. See, look at the functionalities, tooltips or whatever it is. Okay, look at here. And whenever I click on respective one, look at this, on this consumer, look at the functionality, how it is reflecting with the respective other graphs. See, okay, and these are all associated data. And when I hit to the respective elements again, look at this, you have tabular information again. When I click on the particular element, reporting element, look at this, how it is getting highlighted. See, and it is giving respective sources as well. Like I can say like drill down functionalities. Okay, and if you want, you can view the data as well. Customer analytics, look at this. Okay, see, when I hit on a specific region, the corresponding values will differ. Okay, see, all this kind of functionalities can be done. See how user friendly it is. Look at the mouse pointer. Okay, right, shipping wise, shipping nothing but transportation. Look at this. Okay, performances wise. See, it is just like drag and drop these elements from your respective sources. Okay, not more than that. Very easy. Sales forecasting respective to the various sectors like home office, corporate, and consumers. Sales forecasting. Okay. Actual sales, all those things can be predicted. Okay. See, this is just an example. Okay. So this kind of a sophisticated dashboards, visualizations, data discoveries can be done via this Tableau. Okay, and I'm going to brief you about the course content that what we'll be discussing. And our course content is a mixture of both development as well as the administration point of view, where you will be learning both development of dashboards of various applications like Tableau desktop, Tableau server, okay, all these things. So our course content deals with the basic introductions, what is the necessity and the importance and what sort of terminology, and then Tableau fundamentals. I mean to say, like what sort of samples and interfaces, okay, and how to extract the data, what sort of Tableau workspaces we have. So those fundamental topics will be discussed, and later on we'll be digging into Tableau advanced, like by defining how to define a custom SQL in a Tableau worksheet level, and how we can use it, and interacting with the different data connections and various elements in terms of dealing with the calculations and customizations. All those activities will be covered at a Tableau advanced topic. And then visual analytics, where we'll be discussing with like how to distribute these reports to the respective web portals and to the respective users, okay, and to define these aggregations, disaggregations, pivotings, all those things will be discussed. And then Tableau server, so where, as I mentioned, right, in terms of installations, clustering, performance wise, metadata managements, all those things at a server level. And then coming to the administration point of view, how to create the projects and how to create a user and how to provide access privileges, modify rights, view rights, no access, and how to deal with this licensing, okay, server security levels. And then additional information is, we'll be providing you a day-to-day video records in respect to material distribution, assignments, interview questions and answers. So for your practice also, right, we'll be giving you a server. So within that online server itself, we can have a practice. And then starting from the day one itself, we'll be seeing a 95% of the real-time data. Okay. So with the different backend connectivities, with RDBMS databases, with flat files, with MS Access, these are all the data sources that will be coming up within our upcoming sessions. Okay. So this is about our stuff that we'll be dealing. Okay. Yep. If you have any questions, please.
What's the default join when the user tests data backing?
So default join when extracting the join, when extracting the data source?
No, actually, like when you want to having extract on two data sources when you are doing some data blending, what is going to be the default join?
Okay, so whenever we are performing the data blending, I mean to say fetching the data from the different data sources, as per the latest version, that is 9.1, the default join is inner join. Inner join it behaves, but as per the customizations, as per the customer requirements of your dashboards or workbooks, will be manipulating. I mean to say, we'll be changing the join levels. It could be a left outer join or right outer join. It could be a full outer join. But as per the traditional practices, when you talk about Cognos, where you have Cognos framework, and from the business objects universes, right? The tendency of a data blending is you are doing a union operation. A plus B is equal to something different. So that is what I mean to say. A data source plus B data source. It should be basically a union operation, nothing but full outer join. But here we are having a flexibility to change the type of a join. But to answer your question straightly, it is equi join. Okay. Is that answer your question, Ashok?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys. If you don't have any questions, we can wind up our session. And meantime, side by side, if you have any parallel, if you have any questions, you can reach out to BigClass folks, and we will address your concerns. And if you have any questions, we are ready to answer. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Have a nice day. Yeah. Bye bye. Thank you.